For decades, CBN founder Pat Robertson has been a friend to Israel and stood with the Jewish people. He shares that history with Scott Ross when they talked about Robertson's just published memoirs, I Have Walked with the Living God.
Out of all these projects, the ministries, works, Regent University, Operation Blessing, ACLJ, Middle East Television.
Yeah.
You had an interview with Yitzhak Rabin, who was at that time Prime Minister.
Right.
And you asked him what you could do, what we could do as America for him. What did he say to you?
He looked at me and he said, be strong, be strong. That the thing he wanted, Yitzhak Rabin, and I was so touched by that. He said, be strong. And I went up to the Mount of Olives where our group was staying, and I was in the hotel overlooking the Dome of the Rock down there in Jerusalem. And I made a pledge that I and the ministries associated with me would stand for Israel regardless of what it took. And we've kept that over the years, and God has blessed, I'll bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. And we have been champions for the Jewish people ever since. But I said, whatever it takes, even if it's painful, and I'll do it.
Yeah, and subsequently you established Middle East Television.
That's right.
But there was something God told you going into Israel.
Well, it's again, it's in the book. But
yes, it is.
I was praying. I said, God, this is a big deal, and I don't want to, And the Lord told me. He said, Didi and I were praying, and he gave me the verse in Scripture, and it says, Lebanon shall be like a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be counted as a forest. And in that day, the deaf will hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind will be open. I said, this is it. The Lord showed me. That's what we ought to do. And I said, okay, God, I know, but if I go in here and we spend money, and all of a sudden we get overrun and blown up, it's going to be very foolish, so I'll need more of a sign. And I said, all right, Lord, I don't like to ask you for something, but I want to ask you I'm going to put out what Gideon said was a fleece. I'm going to ask you, send me something of gold. And I waited and waited, and Didi went to our mailbox that nobody knew about, and here was a letter from a guy named Frank Folio, and he said, I have in my hand 24-karat gold pieces that were struck by Pablo Picasso.
Phew.
And, I've got them. I'll sell you one. Well, I couldn't buy one, but then before long, he gave me one, and we still got it. It was 24-karat gold, confirmed by Paloma Picasso, that this is the Lord just didn't give me a crummy old Kruger. He gave me the 24-karat. That was the sign I'd asked for, and he gave it to me.
Yeah, and he also underscored it with this word to you. You've made mistakes in other parts of the world.
Yes.
When you go into Israel.
You don't make any mistake here.
Wow.
This is the land of the Bible. I was on a British European airline flying across the Mediterranean. It was a moonlit night, and I was going into Tel Aviv from London. And the Lord said, you're going into Israel, the land of the Bible, and all that other.
Here is this book. We've talked about maybe a little bit more the inside of Pat Robertson, more than just the externals. But this is, I read this a few times, and the stories are astounding. I mean, they really are. I heard some lady on television a few months ago said, God doesn't speak to people. She said it. And I said, lady, I'm so sorry. May I hit you with a big brick. But God speaks to you, and it's all around us. We see it.
That's right.
This is what he's done, what he's doing. This is one book.
Right.
This should be a 10-part TV series or a movie or something. It's amazing.
There have been so many things, Scott.
I know.
This is our walk with the living God. But, it's little vignettes over and over again. God is so creative, and there's so many wonderful things. And what I want out of this book, I want people to understand that God is real, and he'll answer their prayers. And this is a guidebook of how you can listen to him and hear his voice. And when you get through, nobody can read this book and not believe in God.
Alpha.